has discussed this and more. We're joined live from Johannesburg by Dr. David Monyae. He is the co-director at the University of Johannesburg's Confucius Institute. Dr. Monyae, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Now, apart from economic gains from the SGR, what other benefits can Kenya get from China in terms of people-to-people interaction?
I think there were a number of benefits, and not just for Kenya, but for China, that you're going to see an increased number of people moving both ways. This is part of the bigger plan of China of having the One Belt, One Road and 21st century maritime route and the old Silk Road. And therefore, I think this is going to revive and strengthening the bonds between Chinese and Kenyans, and by and large African as a whole. And furthermore, I think the benefits will triple and get much far beyond Kenya and immediate East Africa region. It's also in line with the African Union corridor, where there is a plan of having a corridor that moves from Cape Town to Cairo. And therefore, I think the Mombasa and that particular rail become a feeder into the main Africa corridor. I think the benefits, especially on people-to-people, are massive. Massive tourism, getting to understand each other culturally, learning each other's languages. I think it should be a two-way. And a lot of questions that need to be raised in terms of the kind of skills that are going to spill over out of these projects, that it should not be like in the previous decades where Africa got this wonderful infrastructure but unable to maintain. I think the bigger question that Kenyans and Africans need to ask, how many numbers of Kenyans are in Chinese universities, also within Kenyan universities, learning in terms of maintaining the rail and ensuring that we don't depend on China in maintaining a good infrastructure that we have at the moment.
And how can the Chinese skills and technology be effectively transferred to the beneficiaries of projects like Kenya's SGR?
That is a key issue, and that has been lacking in terms of African relationship with developed countries, that you see most of what Africa import from developed countries, but without knowledge, whether it comes to issues of solar energy, you just buy technology. So you constantly are people of buying products from outside without learning. So one expects Kenya-China relationship around rail to ensure that Kenya and Mombasa don't just become a hub, but it's also become a hub of knowledge on these technical issues, where both Chinese and Kenyan learn to deal and adapt to changing environments, how to build the best railway that it's fit for the African continent, for African condition, sensitive to issues of environment, for instance, and all these issues are quite critical, and other benefits that come out of the rail, because the rail, as more people move, you cut time in terms of doing business, more benefits for ordinary people, particularly for small and medium enterprises. So I think the success of the rail will be measured by the number of people who are going to be lifted out of poverty in Kenya and in the region. And therefore, transport, wherever you go in the world, transport is the key issue to unlock and deal with issues of peace and security, and ensure that there is harmony between Kenyans and the region, as well as Africa and Chinese. And therefore, one expect peace and security, cultural understanding, and more knowledge production within our universities, and ensure that China goes far beyond building rail, but ensure that it injects the knowledge and the transfer of skills for the benefit of Africans and Chinese. by and large.
Dr. Monyae, we appreciate those insights. Thank you for joining us. Dr. David Monyae live for us there in Johannesburg.